Hi, loves. Welcome to I Start First podcast, the show for boss babes who start ideas, businesses, dreams, and lifestyle. I'm your host, Alenka Cullinan, founder of I Start First, speaker, author, and business coach, aka Queen of Pushing Boss Babes Off the Ledge. On this show, I chat with epic humans who are guaranteed to uplevel your business and mindset. Are you ready to sparkle up? Let's go. Hi, ladies. So excited for the next episode of I Start First podcast. And are you in for a treat? I know it's been a rough year for everybody. I mean, 2020 is no gift, but it is a gift because we all learned to do so many things. We learned to pivot. We learned to appreciate what we have. We learned to change directions very quickly and adapt. So someone who is joining us today is one of my favorites because not only she knows her field, not only she has an amazing level of expertise, but I literally watched her launch a business during COVID with a partner, pivot as she needed to, and just crush it like she always does. So I'm so excited for the founder of HVH Marketing and 21 North, Hayden, joining us today. Hi, girlfriend.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm actually really excited that I just get to chat with you today. I was looking forward to this for a while.
Yeah, me too. I mean, we always have like this 5-minute check-in. So it's actually nice to sit down and,
you know. Good? Yes, I'm good.
Yeah, right. I know the Instagram check-ins, but yeah. So, I mean, tell them a little bit of your story. I know, you've been in marketing for a while. It's been quite a lucrative career for you, but you just added something to your plate in COVID when everybody's like, hold on, we're pausing. You're like, nope, full throttle. We're changing things. So kind of walk them through. Where are you?
Yes, absolutely. So prior to COVID, owner and founder of HVH Media and Marketing, been in the business for over a decade, was very successful more on like the social, digital, a little bit of PR side, a lot of cosmetics, sports marketing, medical spas, you name it, I've done it. Really also in influencer marketing space, heavily working with influencers and using that third-party audience to cater into that flywheel that we all try and build for each of our different clients. Really successful, did it in a very authentic and kind of proprietary way and have seen a lot of success. COVID hit and a lot of my clients were forced to pivot. I gave a lot of people warning. I was like, if we're not in an e-commerce type platform where things can be done online, whether it's, taking a medical spa into the telehealth space or, switching products that are brick and mortar into an online store, a lot of hands on deck trying to move everything so that it would be COVID friendly so people weren't going to suffer. During that time frame, I had a colleague friend, in a similar space, more PR focused, Miss Christina Ellman, my partner, and she and I always bounce stuff back and forth. She was out of LA at the time and, dealing with much heavier lockdowns, more pressure. And she and I were both talking about what it was going to require, kind of joining forces, even though we were in a competing industry at the time, just talking about bouncing ideas off of one another. And we sat there and we've already collaborated previously on events that required multiple agencies to be present and had a lot of success. And we just said, let's risk it. Let's toss our money in the pot. Let's combine forces. Let's still keep our agency arms open, but let's launch 21 North. And 21 North is a digital consulting and PR agency. It would specialize in more of the global and national level brands, not local. So we typically don't house local brands under that because it's a larger agency. Yeah. Whereas our arms are able to handle all of the local clients and some national and global clients depending on what the focus is. But this is where we tailor all of that stuff together and we have people who are experts running up each division. Yeah. She started to handle being the VP of all of like our public relations, communication, all of that side. And I was the VP of digital consulting. And we were able to really start approaching building the brand because everyone during COVID was dealing with the either damage control, putting fires out. And then we had a lot of free time to think and decide what that was going to be. And some people didn't take advantage of it. And we did. So she and I worked tirelessly. We focused on our clients. We were probably working double time for what the actual hour allocation was. And then we were spending every single day and night, we're talking 14, 16-hour days, building these platforms, building the website, getting the agency agreements, talking to lawyers, HR, all that stuff that goes into building this so that we could launch this and start on the virtual side. And we've had a lot of success. We just signed the largest sex toy manufacturer in the world. I've got vibrators sitting right here on my desk. Some whips too. No, I'm not even kidding you. We signed a religious television network. We've signed a bunch of other different agencies. We've got, a new cannabis company that's going to be all e-commerce based. They're great. Lots of CBD products, some really cool stuff that we'll be launching with that. Clothing companies, you name it. Everyone kind of flocked in once they knew we had joined forces.
Yeah.
And we are so appreciative and excited and really, really proud of ourselves for taking that risk and finally being able to see that reward.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and I love it. You go from toy company to religious television. I mean, you guys go across the board. There's no hesitation there for sure. But I mean, here's the thing, and I think that's, you said something that I want all the ladies, and if you have to go back, I mean, Hayden just gave you a ton of information. Obviously, you guys can always go bookmark, listen back. But she said something that I think is very important. You said that, there were so many people who were not capitalizing on that, and we did. And I think that's literally what is going to separate post-COVID even. Those who are going to crush it and those who are going to succeed full throttle, those are the ones who are going to pick up pieces. Because, I mean, let's be real. What you and Christina went through wasn't any different than most of the companies, right? We all were watching clients fall apart, clients pause, clients walk away, trying to save as many as we could, help them pivot. But in reality, it's like, I use that analogy all the time. Once you get on the plane and the oxygen mask drops, if you don't put it on yourself first, you can't be saving anybody. And you guys literally took that chance, took that opportunity. Was there a risk? 100%, because you weren't guaranteed anything. So when you went there and you were both like, okay, let's do this, what were your biggest fears, in terms of really stepping into that space?
I think she and I going into this, we both knew, and we were kind of looking, we were looking at our business bank accounts and our personal bank accounts, and we're going, okay, we know we have this, 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 and this. And if COVID, which we know is this open-ended thing at this time, if this ends, this doesn't end for X amount of time, it's like, well, how much more do we really have? And she and I really kind of took our last real investment money. This is the money that we both kind of had off to the side that we said, well, we could start investing in some stocks right now. We could start doing some things that could potentially be additional to our current portfolios while we're sitting on this time. And we went, let's bet on ourselves, because there's never been a time in the past where Christina and myself haven't bet on ourselves and come out on top. I mean, she has a similar story to mine, even with the May agency, where she was like, she left corporate world and had worked at big companies like Universal. And she was like, you know what? I can do this. And it is. She's done the entrepreneur struggle the same way that I did. Her business is built very similar to mine. We both have similar aspirations, foundations, expectations, and approach. And we just went, no, we're going to take these pennies, bet on ourselves. And I bet you if we work as hard as we know we already do, and we match that effort and have that transparency and that accountability, we'll make it happen. And here we are 6 months later, and it's an exciting feeling.
It is. And you guys, I mean, obviously well-deserved, but I do love the fact that you're always super transparent. And I've had you at my event, and some of the ladies who are listening probably have seen you before. But I do love the fact that you talk about work, because here's something I want to draw to everyone's attention. I mean, coming into 21 North, both of you have about a decade of experience, right?
Yep.
So I would think a lot of people, and a lot of times I see women kind of judging each other. And you and I had that conversation where just because you had the experience, they think, oh, now whatever she touches just works, right? I don't have to, just because you guys came in with experience, it's all going to magically unfold. So the fact that you're saying, you've been putting in 11 to 14 hour days. So can you walk them through, what does it really take to run an agency?
Oh my gosh. So
Because I swear, like, I feel like everybody's on that path right now. Everybody's a coach or they want to do marketing at this point, right? They're like, oh yeah, let me like flip a switch.
well, Christina and I, we talk about this all the time because they've seen the progression. So over 6 months, I mean, we really took from the red to the green in 6 months. And you want to be able to move to a state of profit. And we knew going into this, I mean, we looked at each other and we went, how long before we're in the green, before we're really like, ugh, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
And it was quick and we really, really pushed it. But the problem is, and the issue that I think a lot of people don't talk about is you forget that when you set up a company, there's a lot of weird moving parts that you don't expect. And things aren't always done correctly. Like what you could be doing in your agency might not work across the board when you start something new with a different framework. And she and I, what we ended up benefiting from, and it is so important to have those tough conversations with yourself and your partner if you have one. But we sat here and I had some internal issues as far as like, she's very operational, like always everything to a T, very organized, like nothing falls through the cracks. I'm very financially sound. I am someone who I will always make a company extremely lean so that it's profitable. If I can find a place not to necessarily cut corners, but to streamline something or to minimize, I'm really good at establishing those financial margins.
Yeah.
She and I came together. She goes, you're not doing this, and this operationally at HVH. You need to fix that. And I went, you need to break this down and you'll have more profit here and margin available here. We fixed it in our internal agencies, brought it into 21 North, and all of a sudden the ship was running smoothly. Those are tough conversations. It's hard to have another person in business come to you and go, you're not doing this the best you could. But you want to know what? Because I respect her so much and she respects me, she knows it comes from a place, and same thing for me. She wants me to be better and I want her to be better. And then we're better together.
100%. No. And I love that. Yeah. That honesty and having that partner that I mean, tough conversations are never easy, whether it's relationship, business, or whatever else it is, Yeah. And but I mean, you have so much on the line and having to juggle everything. And I mean, you're a mom, so you're juggling that in addition to things. So, and now you have kids at home, right? So like, it's different. We are all in a completely different environment. And I feel, and I felt it at the beginning of COVID and I still feel it. And I mean, I don't want to come off as harsh, but I've said it to a few clients of mine, the same thing. It comes from a very good place that now when people look back at 2020, and I've actually given it as an advice to everyone, I said, when you go back and review your 2020 before you, start planning for 2021, I need you to get honest with yourself that not everything in your life fell apart because of COVID. Okay. Not everything in your business.
COVID just highlighted the things that were already weak.
Exactly. So, right. It was like a highlighter. It went through and went boom, boom, boom. This is your void. This is where you're missing things. Yes. So how did you feel that adjustment stage where you had to go, now the kid is at home and you're dealing with like this, and now you got a partner and now you have multiple businesses. So how do you adjust to all that?
Honestly, I feel like there was a time frame of chaos where I'm sitting there and I really was like, oh my gosh, these are the things that need to be cleaned up first. There's nothing like being in your own house again, too. The place that you're leaving constantly to go, and you're sitting there and you're like, this place does not inspire me. And there's clutter and just like the foundation of where you're coming from and just purging that. And I meant that on relational levels, business levels. COVID showed me the dead weight very quickly. I watched people in my life that I thought would have been making smarter decisions turn around and ask for money, ask for support. There was these people. And I think you're right. COVID was like a highlighter. In the first couple of days of COVID and really like addressing that being home, I sat there and I won't even lie to you. I pat myself on the back for making some of the decisions that I had previously. I had prepped myself to be in a situation that without a loan or any kind of help, that as long as my current client base, which I had, fostered, that I was in a good position to kind of float myself.
Yeah.
But my home space and my life with then having to take on having my son there for school was a huge additive. Yeah. And it highlighted the fact that being a full-time parent, which we don't give enough credit to stay-at-home moms, and being a business owner cannot both be done well. And that corners have to be cut somewhere because you are one person.
Amen, sister.
My house was a tornado. I got rid of a lot of stuff. If it could be gotten rid of and it wasn't necessary, I got rid of it. But like, I just went, the house is the thing that's going to go. Like, messy with memories, because I'm trying to be a second grade teacher. And, you know, like I was talking about, like my 7-year-old at the time, he was like, he's 8 now, but at the time he was 7, going, how do I do a split screen for WebEx and my Google Classroom? And I was like, I'm on like a call with a client. I'm like, I just can't. I had days where I cried. I had days where the wine came out at noon. I was like, I deserve this.
I made it till noon. I kind of have my stuff together.
COVID, there's no time frame. And then you're on, you know, you're outside, you know, with a mask on, trying to do your workouts because there's no gym. All the barbells are sold out on Amazon. If you could get it on Amazon, you did. You know, you're wiping your butt with an old pad that you had in the house when you had babies. Like, it was chaos. Like, you have to call it what it was.
Yeah.
So, but I think the way you adjust is you put yourself in a situation where you know what you're doing well, you know the areas you need work, and the people who were unwilling to face the areas they need work, they're in even worse positions now. Everything's chaos. They're falling apart. I sat there and I went, here's where I need to fix myself. And I reflected and I got rid of people. I felt those losses. I cut off the things I didn't need to. I even cut off some clients that would have stayed, but I knew I needed to get rid of because that energy needed to be purged. I'm like, absolutely. I can't drown with you. Like, I'm your consultant. I'm here for you, but I can't be your punching bag during this.
Yeah. And yes, thank you for opening up that can of worms, because honestly, yes, I 100% relate. And I know that ladies who are listening can relate. I mean, and some of you are probably still hanging on to those people who are drowning you because their energy changed so much, because they can't handle things, but it's a choice. I mean, here's the thing. Everything starts and ends with you. And I don't care how much you don't like this, whether or not you want to face this. It's you. It's coming down to you at all times. So you allow people to have boundaries with you that you allow them to give you the energy. And I did the same thing at the beginning. I really had to go through and same thing, face the issues with having homeschooler now, and also having to deal with business and clients, and, you know, people got emotional, and I understand that. And here's my thing though, and I think that's for all of us women. A lot of times we feel that empathy means lack of boundaries. And I think it's nothing close to that, because you can be empathetic and, like you said, cut them out of your life because they're drowning you along with themselves. And you can't change anyone. You really can't change that. And, you know, as you guys, I'm sure, building your client base now, that's a big part where you're looking to see who is really aligned, right? Who's aligned with the mission? Where are we going? So in terms of, you know, what's next, like what's next for 21 North? So what are some things that you are now knowing that, like you said, COVID is an open-ended thing. None of us know what's going to happen. What are some things you're trying to like streamline, realign, like going into 2021?
So Christina and myself are really big on our culture internally. And you touched on this too. We are being picky about the clients we have and the team we have. And we're doing a lot of internships and we're trying people out because we don't want to get put in a situation where we take on more than we know we can handle. One, we don't want to get in the position of furloughing people again and having to do that. We have personally absorbed a lot of our own work again. So as the owners of the company, a lot of times you have people who are doing specific tasks. Christina's overseeing the books still with our accountant team. You know, I'm still handling all of my own personal meetings, pitches, etc. My assistants and stuff like that are not. I mean, like, I am trying to do as much as I physically can because we need to brace for impact. And that means working more hours, and it means keeping everything afloat for everyone else though, because if we're handling it, it's less of a, you know, chaotic mess if it needs to get passed back off, especially if we're out of office and we have office spaces that are conducive to if we need to close up shop and go home. We're not hemorrhaging over a big office building.
Right.
We've kept it all very lean, very tight and strategic. And we've also prepped the girls where it's like we have systems in place where everything is online, virtual. We can track people if they are at the house, work's still getting done. Our team is set up for, we keep calling it impact because we are bracing for it at any time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the hardest thing that none of us, it's like an open-ended question. None of us know what's going to happen and how far it's going. And we have to be realistic. But I'm going to open up a pretty controversial question that I was sitting on for a while, but I know you're the kind of girl that can handle it because you and I talk about this stuff all the time. Like, I love that about you. Let's talk about judgment, because I think that if one thing went up exponentially in this pandemic, is that separation between people who are truly going in, risking it all, crushing it in the process and failing some too. I'm sure you guys have some issues. And I know I've had to pivot a few times during this time, and some things worked. Some things are like, holy cow, I'm never going to touch this again. This was a disaster.
Yeah.
And, but we're doing it. We're basically doing the work. We're still showing up. We're still staying in our lane. And then there are people, like I mentioned, where, it hits so hard and maybe they're unable or unwilling to face really the voids and the issues. And so now I feel, especially with women, it turned pretty harsh and heavy in some judgment areas. Like, well, of course it's easy for her. Well, of course they're crushing it. Well, of course it's this. Have you guys felt that? Do you notice that in your, in your community, in your surroundings?
Yep. Christina and myself, we take a lot of the, well, it's easy for them because of this. And Christina's like, I haven't had a weekend in a year. Like, and Christina is famous for it. I mean, we literally tell each other all the time where I'm like, quit working. It's 10 o'clock on Saturday. And she's like, oh, I was in the middle of coding this or whatever and trying to change this for our HR. It's like everything is consistent in that sense. But you're right. The people who have time to be judgmental, they're not focused on the right things. Yeah. I always say that. I'm like, the judgmental people seem to have a whole lot of time on their hands. I don't have time to judge you because I'm too busy watering my own grass. I can't tell if yours is greener because I'm trying to make sure that mine stays alive. And that's always how I've been. And it's like, that energy does nothing. I always remind people, like, the few times that I deal with haters or trolls or judgment, I always take it back to them. And I ask that question of like, the judgments you have about me are actually a reflection of yourself. And they're usually something about me that's triggering something that you personally need to heal. Mm-hmm. If you have time to sit here and judge how I'm doing something, you probably could have expended that energy in a positive way to move yourself forward instead of to pass judgment on me. Mm-hmm. Like, you really should be too busy to be judging anyone else. Yeah. Focus, head down right now. Now is the time to have your head down. Head down in your work, in your success. If you're not necessarily building a business, how are you making yourself better so that you're going to have that advantage? Mm-hmm. Coming out of COVID, everybody wants a job. I mean, we have people begging just to work for free because they're hoping to have that opportunity because everyone's out of work right now. Right. So how are you going to be better? Don't judge someone else. You go read a book. Like,
for sure. Oh, I'm with you for sure. And I think what you said is that quintessential truth is if you have time to go look at my grass, you already have too much time. Like if you physically have time to walk over and look, because I don't, like I barely have time to look up a lot of days. And
I barely have time to shampoo my hair.
Right. Exactly. Same. I mean, we're wearing a hat for a reason today. So yeah, I mean, and that's that harsh reality, I think, that hits so many people. And I think so many people kind of got caught up in that whole zone of, there is a very thin line between, dealing with our circumstances and falling into victimhood mentality. And I think there are a lot of blurred lines happening right now. And God, I am only like, I can already brace for impact for the episode when it's going to come out because the DMs I'm going to get on this. And I'm looking forward to that. I mean, don't DM me. You can put this openly in comments. My point of view is not going to change. But so when you are looking now at 2021 and the fact, like all the experiences you've had with marketing. So if you were, because a lot of girls who are listening here are, startups, younger businesses, mid-stage. If you were giving businesses some marketing tips, can you maybe give them a couple to really focus going into 2021?
100%. Do not ever negate your social media accounts, ever, as a part of your strategy. Social media is the way to make those contacts. When people say your network is your net worth, they mean it. And right now, we can't do that face to face. So you need to use your social media to not just put yourself out there, put your branding out there, put your ideas out there, but you need to do it in a way that is spread across all different platforms. I'm talking LinkedIn, Pinterest, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Google businesses. If you can be on the platform and you can put the time into the content, put it out there, and then engage, talk to other people, reach out, make those connections, because your social media is going to be your personal presence now. It's going to be how you're able to virtually stay in contact, virtually garner support, virtually even find additional clients. You need those networks now more than ever. People are online. They're spending more time on their phone because they're not out experiencing life. So you need to create those experiences in the media-based world.
I love it. Awesome. Both of them are amazing. Yes, I saw people like social media just turned for a while into complete shit show. We can say that. I mean, it was definitely something else from, all the movements and everybody judging each other. I mean, really, again, if you guys have time to go and judge anybody, like stay focused and really get laser focused on your own social media, because I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's not going away anywhere. And even when it does go away, I tell clients all the time, I'm like, imagine the amount of fear this now created in everyone. People are never going to give up on online after this ever again, because this can happen now. If it happened now, it can happen 10 more times, and God forbid it does, but it's anything is possible. This showed us that anything is possible. I joke about this all the time. I lived in Russia in the 90s, and my friends and I, and my brother and I joke all the time. My brother is like, I thought you left the country, so you never get to experience this again. I'm like, yeah, me too. So, having relived that in a different culture, 10, 20 years later, it really is amazing reminder how really fragile everything is if you don't focus on the right things. So, I mean, I can't believe it's been 30 minutes. Like, I swear we can need like another hour to talk to you. But before I close, I always close with the same question to all the amazing boss queens that come on. And my question to you is this: if there is a boss babe out there that's now listening to you and she's like, whoa, like this girl is crushing it, she's done it, and I want to be just like her, what would be one advice you give her?
I really feel like the advice that I always give, and it comes from a lot of failure. Like, I had dark, horrible times, but you really cannot give up on yourself. I mean, I had times where I was in a pit, like everything that could go wrong did. Broke, divorced, family abandoned me, boss died in a plane crash, lost a job. I was in a pit of my own despair. And you really have two decisions in that moment. You can lay there, suffer, and essentially just meet your demise, or you can rise. And I got up and I started one by one building what I knew I needed to do. And I put in the work, and you really can do it. If you're somebody who even just has the thought, just that idea that you can be an entrepreneur, I wholeheartedly believe just having that mentality is the spark that you need to just get started. And you really have to trust that and go with it. Because listen, not everybody is meant to have their own company. Some people are meant to be employees, are meant to follow those rules, be a part of a bigger system, be a part of that dream. We need employees. Employees matter. But if you're somebody who has that entrepreneurial spirit and you've had those hardships and those failures, don't give up on yourself, because I've been there too. Like I said, I've been broke. I have lost a lot of money and made more money. There is always the equal and opposite if you keep at it. But you got to put in the work and believe in yourself.
Gosh, I literally got goosebumps. I mean, I would if you're looking for affirmations for 2021, like literally cut this last, 45 seconds that she just talked about. These are your affirmations, like really listen to them every day. And that's really going to move you forward. I mean, Hayden, amazing. I can't thank you enough for sharing your expertise, for always being as transparent as you are and just crushing it and being so open and so vulnerable. So I know everybody who is listening and myself, we appreciate you so much, girl.
Thank you so much. I always love coming and talking with you.
Thank you so much for listening to I Start First podcast. If you loved it as much as I did, feel free to tag us on Instagram at IStartFirst_. Share it with your besties, and if you feel so compelled, give us that 5-star review on iTunes. Till next time, and like always, kick ass and sparkle up.